Hey guys, welcome back to Healthy Girl Era. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to be back with another podcast episode and another video for you. I am just off the back of my first ever High Rock singles. If you follow me on socials, you would have seen me posting non-stop about it. But yeah, this weekend has just been such a crazy weekend, honestly. I don't know whether to do a whole nother episode on High Rocks because it's quite a niche thing, not everyone's interested in it, but it was honestly the hardest thing that I have genuinely ever done, both physically and mentally. It was such a struggle, and now we're Sunday and my body is still in bits. And I'm so scared. I don't know when I'm going to be back to normal again because, yeah, my legs, everything. It was the hardest thing I have ever done. So I'm just so excited and have been so excited to have had a nice chill weekend. So I'm so excited to just be sitting with here chilling and talking you through today's episode, which is a really, really good one. We're going to be talking about how to end the year as your best self. So these are all of the good habits for you to prepare for 2026. I've spent such a long time putting together all of these habits for you based on things that have worked for me. And I really genuinely do believe that they are going to work for you too. We're at such a good time of the year now. We're not at the end of December. We still have quite a bit of December left to go. And it is such a good time to start planning for 2026. This is your sign to not leave it to the 1st of January, to start thinking about everything you want to achieve in January. Don't leave it till New Year's Eve to start doing your vision board. You need to start this now because it takes a bit of planning, and there are so many good things that you can start doing in December to make sure that 2026 is your best year yet. And I genuinely mean that. And I am so excited for 2026. Personally, I feel like I'm so committed to so many goals in 2026, and I just feel like it's going to be a really good year. I feel like everyone says that every year, but I genuinely do believe it's going to be such a good year. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. So the first thing that I want you to do to make sure that 2026 is your best year yet is reflection. Reflection is one of the most important things in every single area of your life. If you can't look back and if you can't reflect, you're never going to grow and you're never going to learn. Now, one thing that is so important that I always do is reflect back on the year so far. Obviously, it hasn't ended yet, but it is so important to look back and think what worked, what didn't work, what did I achieve, what didn't I achieve, what did I want to achieve that I didn't. These are such important questions to be asking yourself and to be really, really thinking about, because that's going to frame all the things that you want to try and achieve in 2026. And looking back and understanding what didn't work this year, what are the habits I picked up that I don't really want to carry into 2026, is the perfect way to grow and to learn. Because without that reflection, you're never going to improve, because you're going to just be blindsided to all the things that you're doing that might not be supporting your goals. And assess your alignment. I love asking and thinking, if I lived every year like this, would I be getting closer to my future, my dreams? Would I be getting closer and closer to that dream version of me that I envisage? It's such an important question to ask, because realistically, the years and the months and the weeks go so quickly. And just looking back at the year and thinking, if I lived every year like this, would I be happy with myself? Would I be getting closer to my dreams and the future that I want for myself? It's such an important question to ask, because it can be so easy to kind of drift through life thinking you're doing the things that are right, when in reality, you're probably not, and you might be missing areas that you could maximize and improve on. And just by assessing your alignment to your future goals and your future version of you that you want to be against your actual past behavior of the past year is such a good way to know whether you're on track and you are living your goals. Because it's so easy to write down your goals and just think, this is what I want to achieve, but actually putting them into practice every day can be quite difficult to know what that can look like. So looking back at the past year, even this past 6 months, whatever time frame you want, you can even do the past day. Is that the way, and is that the right, correct path of actions it's going to take me to the future me that I want to be? And if the answer to that is no, that's the beauty of reflection, because you can then change your behavior as you go into 2026 to make sure that your actions, your daily habits are aligned with that future version of you that you want. And I think reflection is so important as well, because you're never going to have a perfect year. You're never going to achieve absolutely everything on your vision board. I think for so long I thought that if I didn't achieve one goal, if I didn't achieve something that I wanted to, like that was the worst thing ever. But that's not, you're never going to achieve everything. That's why having a range of goals is so important, because you're not going to achieve them all. Life gets in the way. Life is never perfect. So looking back at what you didn't achieve, and it might be that that goal was never really meant for you anyway. You might have, said in 2026, I want to do this. And actually when it came to it, that didn't really feel aligned with you and you didn't need to do that. So looking back at what you didn't achieve is just as important as looking at what you didn't achieve. And I just think reflection is honestly the key to growth. So the first thing that you need to do before starting anything else looking into 2026 is reflect on 2025. What did you achieve? What's working for you? What doesn't feel quite right? What do you want to leave behind and what do you want to take forward? Now, the first real phase, I believe, in actually truly entering 2026 as your best self is decluttering your environment. Now, this is what I mean is don't leave everything to the end of December, because you don't want to be doing things in the 1st of Jan, like decluttering your environment. You want to get this done before the end of 2025. Now, when I'm talking about your environment, I'm talking about your physical space, your mental space, and your digital space. Now I'm going to go through what each of those three look like and how to declutter them. So your physical space, this is the obvious things. You cannot live an organized and successful life if your space around you is cluttered, if it's deorganized, if it's just a mess, really, if your things aren't in the right place. Honestly, this is like the foundations of being organized, being successful, just having a clear mind and a clear life. You need to have a clear space. So whether that's literally just taking an afternoon or a weekend to just declutter your environment, look at all the things you have around you. Do you need them all? If not, get rid of them. And secondly, are they organized? Because I think for so long I just didn't really understand the importance of my physical environment in terms of keeping things tidy and all of that. And I think it's just a common thing, right? And when you actually have an organized space, you have a routine, you know where things go, you feel so much clearer. And every day when you wake up, you just feel like you feel decluttered. When you wake up with a cluttered space, there's honestly nothing worse. Like you probably know, like before you've gone out, like I know I can still be bad for it, and I'm in a rush and I leave things everywhere. If I don't clean that up, I just feel cluttered mentally and physically. So that is such an important step. Review your environment, audit your physical environment. Are there things you don't need? Get rid of them if there are, and just make everything tidy and also clean. Next is your mental space. Does your mind feel cluttered? This one is as important, if not more important, than your physical space. Are your goals, are your values clear in your mind? Do you wake up every day knowing what you want to achieve, knowing the goal you're working towards? If you don't, you're not really going to get anywhere. It's like going into the gym with no plan and no goal. You're not really going to get any tangible outcomes because you haven't got any direction. You don't know where you're going. And waking up every morning and knowing the bigger picture of where you want to be, but also understanding the smaller picture, which is your day-to-day habits, what you need to achieve in that day to get closer to that bigger overarching goal, is so important. So just review and think to yourself, is your mental space clear? Do you know your values? Do you know what you're trying to achieve and how to get there? Are you clear on where you want to be in life now, where you want to be in the future? It's a really good time to just really clarify that in your mind and know that, and really get that as the single source of truth and inspiration in your life every single day. Because if not, you're going to be working on different things every day to different goals and you're never going to achieve a single goal. So really making sure that's solid in your mind and clutter out all of the stuff that you don't need, all of that self-doubt, the low confidence, the bad remarks that you say to yourself in the mirror. Get rid of those before 2026, because your worst enemy is so often your mind. And if you don't work and really declutter those out, they're going to hold you back a lot. And lastly, your digital space. Again, really important, guys. Your social media. Number one, are you spending too much time on social media or your phone? You probably are, because I know I do. Look at your screen time. Have a review of your screen time. You can see your screen time by month, by week, whatever. Have a look at that. Does that align with the vision of you in the future as well? Is that holding you back? But also your actual social media usage on your feed. Is your feed reflective of you and your goals? Now, for so long, I followed just, a bunch of random accounts that I didn't need to, and that sometimes weren't making me feel great. And it was a really good exercise for me in terms of decluttering, was going through my feed, going through my social media, removing and unfollowing from the things that didn't serve me, and creating a feed that works for me. Because saying to myself, I'm never going to scroll isn't realistic, but making sure that when I do scroll, it's things that are informative or inspirational is so much better than scrolling on things that are going to make me feel worse. So go through your social media media, really audit your social media. Are you following the right accounts? Mute or unfollow the ones that do not serve you, and follow some accounts that are really beneficial to you. If you're interested in a certain area, follow some educational accounts in that area, for example. Has been something that has transformed my usage of my phone and social media, because like I said, it's so, you can say I'm not going to scroll, but you're going to scroll. We're natural, we're human, but making sure that that scroll can be as productive as possible is such a good top tip. And also just simple digital tasks like clearing out your mailbox, unsubscribing from mailing lists that you don't need to be on, clearing out your camera roll. Those kind of things are such good things to do at the end of the year. And again, they really set you up for like an organized and productive 2026, because your phone is organized. It's not full of things that you don't need. You're not receiving loads of spam emails. It's just a good way to have a nice fresh base before you head into 2026. And lastly, close any loose ends or old cycles. There's nothing worse than heading into a new year with baggage from the previous year. So whether that's any credit card bills or minor debts that you need to settle, hard conversations that you might need to have, whatever it is that you're kind of holding on to, get it done this month, guys. Get it done before the end of 2026. Go into 2026 with the cleanest slate possible in every area of your life. So do the difficult things now so that they're not going to be dragged over into 2026. Because I feel like I'm going to say 2026 so many times in this video, I'm like struggling to say it already. But I just love having that clean slate heading into a year. So get rid of all that old baggage, leave it in 2025. Just get it done so that you can go into this new year with a clean slate, and you're going to feel so much more productive. Now, next we want to plan and set our intentions for the new year. Now, I did previously mention quite a few times your future self and the future version of you, and I think it is such a good activity to do every year or quite regularly, because this is something that changes. Is envisioning the future self. Envision you at the end of 2026 or halfway through 2026. Where are they? What do they have? How do they feel? What do they do every day? Really get that clear in your mind. And this is what I mean when I say you need to have a real clear vision in your mind and declutter your mind. You need to be so clear on who you want to be and what that future version of you looks like, because you can then show up as them every single day. And it is such an important exercise and important thing to have in your mind, because if you don't know where you want to be or what the future version of you looks like and you can't envision that, it's going to be so hard to work towards that, guys. Like, you know, when you have a goal, whether that is I want to lose weight or I want to do a certain job, you envision yourself, whether you're consciously doing it or not, you picture yourself doing the job or you picture yourself with the weight lost. You need to picture yourself as this future version of you, the things they do every day, the things they say to themselves in the mirror, how they feel in themselves, literally everything. Write it down if you need to, or even draw it. Be so clear on that, because whenever you are making a decision or deciding whether or not to do something, you can go back to that future version of you and think, what would they do? In the same way that people kind of say, well, what would like Beyonce do or something like that? You can go back to that future version of you and make sure that your daily efforts and your daily actions are always going to be aligned to that future version of you, and you're always going to be working towards that person. This is honestly just going to guide you in every area of your life, and it is such a good anchor to have. It's so important, and that's why I think you should do this before setting your goals. Really know who you want to be and where you want to be in the future. Now, after you've done this, you want to set yourself some SMART goals. I'm not going to lie, I haven't really heard of SMART goals since I was doing my schoolwork, obviously until I've started using them in my older life, but I heard them a lot in school and I kind of dismissed them, but they are so good. So if you don't know what a SMART goal is, it basically follows a framework to make sure that all of your goals are: number 1, specific; number 2, measurable; number 3, achievable; number 4, relevant; and number 5, time bound. It basically makes sure that any goal you set is really specific and you're actually going to be able to achieve it. And it is so important because, for example, if you just said, I want to be fitter in 2026, you're so much less likely to stick to that and achieve to that and work towards that than if you said, I want to work out 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week for 3 months, for example. Like, can you see that difference? It is so important to have SMART goals, and you're so much better setting yourself 2 to 3 SMART goals than like 10 just broad goals. You're just not going to achieve them. It's like, again, when you go into the gym, you have to have those SMART goals, because otherwise you don't know what you're working towards. You don't know how to work towards it. And as soon as you have a SMART goal, you can really create a structured plan to get there. And they're just so good, to be honest, guys. So really set yourself some SMART goals. I would say no more than like 4 or 5, because otherwise you're just going to have too many. You can always set yourself more goals in the second half of the year, but having like around 3 to 4 really solid SMART goals is just such a good way to have absolute clarity on what you want to achieve in the next year. And it's just so important to have goals that are actually specific and measurable and all of that stuff. So set yourself some SMART goals, really think about and aligning them to the future version of you that we just spoke about. And you're going to start to create yourself a really robust plan for moving into the new year. Now, next, you want to create a not to do list. Now, this sounds a bit counterintuitive, but we are humans and it is inevitable that over the last year, you have picked up some habits that you do not want to do in 2026. Now, the great thing about reflection and looking back is you're going to know and you're going to start to understand which of the habits that you've picked up, or the relationships that you have, or the things that you do, or the activities you participate in that don't make you feel good. You know those things, or you come away from something and you think, that just didn't quite align with me, or that just didn't quite feel how I wanted it to feel, or I know this habit is holding me back. Asking yourself those questions, highlighting the areas or the habits that are holding you back, that aren't really that healthy, are just important as creating the ones that are. Being able to understand your own unhealthy habits, I think, is the master of like reflection and self-awareness, because when you can know and acknowledge things you're doing that aren't great, I think you're in such a powerful place to really start to work to get rid of them. And I think sitting down at the end of the year and looking back on 2025 and thinking what wasn't serving me this year, you can then start to really get rid of those and make sure that they're out of your life before 2026, whether that's breaking a bad habit, cutting off a friendship, whatever it is. Understand that you are your own priority and you need to be your utmost priority, and anything or any habit that starts to kind of attack that or contradict that, you need to get rid of. So create a list of things that you want to get rid of before the end of 2026. You've got time to do that. Really be clear on what doesn't serve you. We'll make sure that you are clear on what does serve you. So really get clear on that and work to get rid of them before the end of 2026. Now, next, you want to build the foundations and start to adopt the habits now. Do not wait until January 1st, like I've said, to put all these habits into action, or all the habits or the goals that you want to achieve. I think it just creates so much pressure. And I think if you can start small and build momentum, it is so much better than going all or nothing on January 1st. You might do it for a couple of weeks or a month, but I promise you're not going to last long if you try and implement 7 crazy habits on January 1st. And you have a bit of momentum because it's the novelty of the beginning of the year, but it's not going to last. So really start small, master the foundations, and you'll be able to build up from there. Small actions compound into big results over time. You will underestimate so much the power of small daily habits and intentions. They're so important, and if you can get the foundations right, it's just proof to yourself and it'll build your confidence that you're going to be able to master those big goals and the bigger habits in 2026. So really start small. When I say build the foundations, it can be whatever your foundations are. I think it's really important to know what are your non-negotiables. What are the habits looking into 2026 that this, future version of you, or even the current version of you, would like to have every single day? They can be so simple. For me, it's just about sleep, hydration, and movement. It could be that for you, and just really getting the basics right, building those foundations starting now. So by the end of December, moving into January 1st, you can focus your attention on the other habits that you want, the new ones that you want to master, as opposed to trying to build the foundations already in January. So really work on those foundations. Start now, start small, and just build up over time. Start drinking more water, start prioritizing your sleep and your self-care, start moving your body every day, even if it's for just 10 minutes. If you can master those now, I promise it will make it so much easier when you move into January to master all of the other things that you want to achieve and the goals that you want to work towards. And set your environment up to support those habits. We spoke a little bit about your environment at the beginning, but make sure that once you've got these non-negotiables in place, your environment supports those. I always think you should make it easier to do the habit than not to do the habit. So lay out your gym clothes every night for the morning, so that if you don't go to the gym, you're going to have to put them away. Leave your water bottle next to your bed, for example. Like, start to make your environment set up for these habits and make it easier to do the healthy habit than to not do the healthy habit, and make it as hard as possible to do the unhealthy habit, if you see what I mean. Really make it as easy for yourself as possible. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. Like, remove the friction as much as possible. So whatever your habit is, try and make it easier for yourself by preparing. For example, if you want to eat healthier, make the effort to prepare your meals and plan your meals and buy the ingredients and meal prep at the end of the week, and really prepare. Make it easy for yourself, because when you're trying to achieve anything, it can be slightly easier or slightly harder, depending on how you approach it. And why wouldn't you want to make it easier for yourself? And it sometimes involves a little bit of effort at the beginning, but it's going to prevent so much more unneeded effort coming on later. So yeah, really set up your environment for success and try and make your habits easier to do than not to do. Focus on consistency over intensity. It is so much better to do good habits 70% of the time than waiting for the right time or waiting till you think you're going to be able to do it 100%. Because, like I mentioned at the beginning, no one is perfect. Life gets in the way, life throws curveballs. There are going to be times when you can't do your habits. There are going to be times when things get in the way and you're going to fall off the wagon. And what is important is your mindset and coming back from that. And you really need to focus on consistency. I speak about this in every area of your life, whether that's the gym or eating or whatever. You can't have that all or nothing mindset. It's like if you spilt a bit of water, you're not going to then just spill the whole glass because you've already spilled a bit, are you? It just doesn't make sense. Really focus on building that mindset where you can be flexible. You understand there are going to be blips and bumps in the road along the way, but it's about how you come back from that. So really focus on trying. I always say 80-20, but it might be 70-30. It doesn't matter. As long as you're above 50% doing these good habits, it will grow over time and you will just develop a really resilient mindset, and someone that can bounce back from challenges is in a really, really good place moving forward with anything in their life. And also use habit stacking, guys. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying make it easier. Stack new habits on top of old ones that are really cemented in your routine. For example, if you wanted to drink more water, you could say that while your morning coffee is brewing or whatever, you drink a cup of water. Or while you're waiting for your egg to boil, you do your morning stretches. Stack things on top of other things that you do. After you've brushed your teeth, you always are now going to journal or meditate. Start to build a routine, but use your existing core habits to make it easier for yourself, because it's so much easier to stack a habit than to just try and implement it at a random point in your day when you are less likely to actually do it. So stack new habits on top of your old ones and you'll find it so much easier. Now, lastly, end the year with intention. Now, of course, we've spoken so much about all the things that you can do throughout December to really set up your success for 2026, but those final days of December, really set an intention for 2026. Now, I really like just to set myself one big intention. Now, that can be a word or a few words or just one sentence to just really frame the whole year that I want to have. It can be about building discipline, or it can literally be anything, but a little short sentence or even a word like consistency, for example, just to overarch your whole year in one is such a good anchor alongside having that future vision of you in place to just keep coming back to, and knowing that you've got this overarching thing and goal that you're working towards. And it is just so important to have things that you can reflect against throughout the year when you get lost, because there are going to be times when you feel a bit stuck and you don't know what you're doing. You've got these core goals and these values of what you want to achieve in 2026 to come back to, and you can always ground yourself on them and really reflect on them and think, well, this is what I said I was going to achieve, or what I wanted my year to be like. Am I working towards that right now? Am I really getting closer to that, or am I actually going off in the opposite direction? So set yourself an overarching intention for 2026 right at the end of December, and it is just such a nice way and such a nice thing to hold on to throughout 2026. And also create space for joy. I think a lot of this episode we've spoken about sticking to discipline, sticking to things and doing things and getting things done, but create space for joy and presence. I think it's so easy, and I'm guilty of it, of running away with the goals and the tasks and the things that you want to achieve and not sitting in the moment and sitting in the year. I've already spoken about how quickly the years and the months go, and create space to enjoy it, because before you know it, you're going to be old or something. You never know, guys, with life, right? So really create that space for presence and joy and self-care, and dedicate time to you, not just your goals, because you are always going to be more important than your goals or anything that you are trying to work towards or whatever. You and your self-care and your happiness are the most important things. So create space for that and really schedule that in as well. Schedule your self-care time in. I love doing that, planning ahead my self-care evenings. Make sure you've got lots of that in 2026, because if you are working towards something or a goal, it's going to be hard and you're going to need that self-care time, which is so important. And sustainability is so much more important than all or nothing. And sustainability is a routine that can be enjoyed as well as it being hard. Nothing that's really super hard and really horrible is going to last forever, and it's not sustainable, is it? It's like a really intense diet or workout regime. It's never going to last. You need to have that joy in there. So build time with the people you love, activities, hobbies you love. things that really like fill you up and really make you feel good are just as important as working hard towards your goals. So that is the end of today's episode, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and just take this as your sign to start now. Do not wait until the 1st of January, because there are so many things that you can do in December to get you ahead for January. And I think it's such a good time this time of year. We've got a bit of extra time to just really get yourself ready and really clarify your intentions and who you want to be, because it will make such a difference, I promise you. And the future you will thank you so much. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, you can catch up with me on socials, ask me any questions, podcast recommendations or episode suggestions that you want. And yeah, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. So thank you so much. I love you. Bye.